2019 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series gets underway with the NASCAR Grand Prix of Spain in Valencia on the 14th and 15th of April. Last year, fans flocked in their thousands to soak up the sun and see some pure racing, some NASCAR racing. Who's going to claim the first wins of the year? Who is going to stand on the top of the podium? Well, welcome to Circuit Ricardo Tormo for our race day. We saw racing yesterday from both the Elite 1 division and the Elite 2 division at this fantastic circuit that is just 20 kilometres away from Valencia and named in honour of Ricardo Tormo, the two-time 50cc motorcycle world championship. It's round 2 of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series that we're going to see for the Elite 2 division coming up in just a few moments' time. But before that, let's just have a very quick look at the circuit that we've got here at Ricardo Tormo. A fantastic circuit. This circuit was built in 1999 and it comprises some 14 corners. The Elite 2 winner last year was Wilfred Busena, and around this 4-kilometre circuit, or 2.5 miles, they are going to have to work terribly hard over the course of what are going to be 18 laps. We saw some great action yesterday here at Valencia. There was ideal conditions. We are blessed today with beautiful sunshine as well here in Spain, and now we can have a quick look at some of the racing action that took place yesterday here in Valencia. So some fantastic racing action yesterday here at Valencia in both Elite 1 and the Villarino returning to the championship and claiming the win. And in Elite 2, the final corner decided the race. And Giorgio Maggi, who was third heading in towards the final corner, came through to take the win. So what are we going to see in this second race of the weekend? Well, we'll find out very shortly, because the cars are at the bottom of pit road, ready to be released out onto the circuit. And joining me in the commentary box for this Elite 2 race, I'm delighted to say, is the 2000 Monster Energy NASCAR champion, Bobby Labonte. Bobby, welcome back to Valencia and Circuit Ricardo Tormo, and welcome back to the commentary box.
Yeah, thank you. This is a lot nicer than Brands Hatch. That was a little bit of a hot box up there.
It was warm, wasn't it?
Yeah. But this is, you've upgraded your program. It's nice to see you. Glad to be back.
Only the best for you, Bobby. Only the best for you. And before we sort of concentrate on the Elite 2, you were out yesterday in the Elite 1 race. You've got another race to look forward to later on. You picked up 5 places in your race earlier on, but you were sort of talking with the team and other people about maybe trying to try a few different things to improve the car, perhaps.
Yeah, you know, it's a unfortunately, to start with, I was delayed on my flight for Thursday, so I missed practice, and then so I practiced yesterday. Qualifying was last year. That's like my average. I was not very good. I got better as the season went on, so Yesterday I struggled in qualifying, but once the race starts, I can kind of level off, and fortunately we're able to pass some cars, but still looking for a few things. This morning was a little bit better, so just try to gain on it every time. And the general tire this year is a little bit different than what we had last year, so it's just trying to adjust to that. And it's never perfect no matter what, so you're always trying to figure out a balance.
And I suppose, it's the different tyre and how that interacts with the different dampers that the cars are running this year as well. Yeah,
there's a lot different, and, so last year I was definitely getting a better hold of it, and when you only race 6 times a year and you don't practice any, you don't test any, it's a little bit, you always feel like you're a step behind, but I think some good changes have been made. The tire is, is a challenge, but, I love challenges, and with the shocks and the little different spring package, it's every time you go out, you learn a little bit more.
We saw you out for a one-off at Brands Hatch in 2017. You did the full season with us last year. At the moment, Valencia is just a one-off again for you this year.
Yeah, probably not, but maybe. I don't know. We haven't really decided yet. So there's there's a if maybe, kinda, sorta, maybe, I don't know yet, but it really depends on a lot of different things. And right now busy at home with some different oddball things that I do there, so it's just going to kind of come down to playing out if I can come back or not.
Watch this space, race fans. Yeah, watch this space. So the cars have now been released from pit road. The order in which they will line up on the grid is based on the fastest laps that were posted in yesterday's race. So it's not the results from yesterday, it is the fastest laps from yesterday's race. I'm delighted to see, just heading down pit road now, is Jennifer Jo Cobb at the wheel of the number 10. We didn't see her out yesterday, Bobby. The car was damaged in free practice by the other driver that she was scheduled to share it with, and she missed yesterday's race.
Yeah, that's obviously, again, you travel a long ways, and you get here, and if you don't get to race, then that is a little bit of a struggle. So I think Jennifer might have went out this morning in practice, but I'm not 100% sure of that. But I know yesterday she was ready to go out, but they did have a lot of damage to the car, so they weren't able to race.
That doesn't look good for the number 19, does it? That is already puffing out a little bit of smoke on its outlet, Bobby, there.
Yeah, I don't know that that's going to fix itself. That usually doesn't look good. When that happens, it's not going to be good. So I would predict that we'll see him later on pit road.
Yeah, that's Alessandro Brigatti, who had issues yesterday as well. So that car has been rather troubled over the course of the weekend. As a nominee for the NASCAR Hall of Fame, we cut you in half and you say NASCAR through the middle. It's great to see that as part of the driver exchange program, joining you on the grid for the Elite One race later on will be our Mexican champion from last year from the Peak Series, Ruben Garcia Jr. And that's an important thing, isn't it? The driver exchange program, where we see drivers from your side of the Atlantic come over here to race in Europe and vice versa.
It really is, and I know that NASCAR is working hard to implement that, or adapt that, accept it, and it's great to see other drivers from different countries want to come here, and at the same time I've talked to several drivers here that want the opportunity to race in the States, and some of them already have. So I do think that as time goes on, you'll see that more and more, and with Ruben here, and then I know that again, Myatt Snyder, we'll talk about him later, but definitely some crossover, and again, it's exciting to see from my point of view as we go into the NASCAR series and the weekly series, or the Xfinity series, truck series, and finally the Cup series.
And we nearly had our second ever American winner yesterday. We have had an American winner in the past at Tour Speedway in 2012. Ben Kennedy, I think it was that driver. Yesterday we saw two Americans going wheel to wheel into the final corner. They will both start on the front row of the grid, I hasten to add, for this one. That is Myatt Snyder, who you mentioned, and Andre Castro. And it's great to see, the pace that those guys have got coming into Europe, racing on road courses which you're less familiar with in the US, and straight away just clicking beautifully with the car and the team. And either one of those could have won the race yesterday had it not have been for that incident at the final corner.
Yeah, obviously, I know Myatt, and have known Myatt for many years, and know his dad, and we had talked quite a bit about about him racing over here over the winter time, and fortunately for him, he was able to do so with his schedule, and he adapts. Young guy like that adapts really well, and he did a great job, has done a great job over the weekend, and going for the win, you know, I don't really blame anybody for going for the win. If there's a little bit of contact, and you know, if they would have come down to the start-finish line side by side, that would have been a little bit more exciting. But, you know, at the same time, I think Myatt, you know, he's hungry for wins, and you know, he should be. So if he didn't try, then, you know, what's the point, I think.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, absolutely. I know you were chatting to him just before we came up into the commentary box. I had a quick conversation with him as well, and he said, yeah, it's also maybe that different dynamic between the protocol of racing in the US and how it is subtly different here in Europe as well. And he sort of held his hand up in that respect, and that he's learning still. He's still learning. Yeah,
I mean, it is different. We would. I mean, it's just a little different protocol. You know, side-by-side short track racing. It's different in the States. You know, if wheel-to-wheel, you know, Rubbins racing, that's what we want to have. But at the same time, you know, that would not have gone down probably like that in the States.
Yeah.
So saying all that, I think Myatt understands that, learned that.
Absolutely.
And I mean, and that will help him. But unfortunately, he had to figure that out the hard way. And I don't know that anybody could have told him any different until that time came. So I don't fault him, and I don't fault the 24 car either for trying. So sometimes incidents happen, and that's racing.
I'm absolutely with you. For me, it was an unfortunate, just pure racing incident. So we can see the grid is now starting to be cleared. So whilst we can't bring you a graphic of the starting grid, we can sort of guide you through the colours as such. So the number 48 car that sits there on the top left-hand side of your screen, that is Myatt Snyder, and that is the driver that sits there on pole position, having posted the fastest lap from the race yesterday. Alongside him is the largely sort of grey and black and day-glow yellow number 24 car, which is his fellow countryman Andre Castro, that sits there on the outside of the front row of the grid. On to row number 2, that's where we see yesterday's race winner, the number 50, the black car, but with the the Netherlands flag stripes down the centre of it. Hendricks Motorsport, the Ford Mustang in the hands of Giorgio Maggi, claiming his first win in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series yesterday. And to driver's right is the only other driver now in the field that has claimed a win in this Elite 2 division, Florian Venturi, the Frenchman at the wheel of his number 32 Chevrolet. Onto the third row of the grid, it's the red car, but with the checkered sort of stripes down the centre of it. That's the Italian Nicolas Risitano at the wheel of his Chevy, and alongside him is number 9, which is Vittorio Gorelli with his Ford. Vittorio started 12th yesterday, got through to Super Pole. The car then had a problem, so he couldn't set a lap. He came through from 12th to finish in 2nd position in the end, so he was very, very happy, as were the team at the end of that one. And on to row number 4 of the grid. That's where we see number 7, which is the Czech driver, Martin Dubek, with his Ford, who also featured for Hendricks Motorsport on the overall podium yesterday, finishing in 3rd position. And alongside is number 11, Bert Longines, who had a spin on the final lap at the wheel of his number 11 Chevy. The next row of the grid, a car that you really cannot miss. It's black with Dayglow orange, number 98, Eric de Donker. We'll see that car out, and Eric also racing in the Elite 1 division race later on. And alongside is number 27, which is the Ford of Pierluigi Veronese, and we should just have time, as the drivers have now started their engines, to head on to the next row of the grid, and that is where we see number 90, which is the British driver Scott Jeffs for Brax Racing at the wheel of his Chevy. He's making his debut this weekend, as are so many drivers in the Elite 2 division, and alongside is number 6, which is Advait Deodar, the Indian driver, with his Chevy for Deck Sweat DF1 Racing. So that gives you the first half dozen rows of the grid. It's worth mentioning, I think, also, Bobby, yesterday we made a little bit of history in Elite 2. The youngest ever driver to start a NASCAR Whelen Euro Series race, young Ben Kriener, only 16 years of age and 31 days now, and had his first ever race only 3 weeks ago at Silverstone in the UK.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible, and he is the teammate to Lucas.
Luca Lasser, yeah.
And so he's got a really fast race car, and did a great job. I mean, so his dad, I believe his mom and dad, but I know his dad was here. So obviously seeing them after the race, and know that he completed, finished, didn't tear anything up. It was a good day for him.
And he's the other side of the pit garage to you, isn't he? Same team.
Yep, yeah. Exactly. So I mean, that's for a young guy like that's got really a limited amount of on-track experience, but a lot of time behind simulators and some go-karts and stuff like that. As far as history goes, it's really exciting to see that this guy's come out with little experience, but seemed like he's got a lot of will and a good desire, and he ran really good.
It's not just, of course, the overall race that will be going on as well. We'll pick out as to who is the leading rookie that's in the field as well, because the rookie is a separate trophy that we have. So that is for drivers entered into the Elite 2 Championship in their first season of racing. We've also got the Legend Trophy as well, which is for bronze categorised drivers, such as the championship organisers have decided, who are 40 years and above at the beginning of the season and entered into the Elite 2 Championship. And we've also got the Lady Trophy as well, so that's for ladies or women entered into the Elite 2 Championship. So we'll try, as the race wears on, to pick up on who is leading each one of those categories. Now, the cars that are out there now, these tyres have already had a race yesterday, Bobby. Some drivers would have pushed hard on those tyres. Others, certainly the likes of Jerry DeVert, the hugely experienced 3-times Legend Trophy winner, didn't push too hard yesterday and didn't do much in qualifying. So he's probably got a better set of tyres underneath himself than some of the others out there.
Yeah, we talked about that. It's the same way for Elite 1. Everybody has the same set of tires from yesterday, so they'll have 18 laps, 16 laps on them. We talked about that before, about a lot of guys that, go really hard to start with. Will they be able to fire off well today? I think that's still a little bit of wait and see. I don't. Everybody talked about it, but the tires don't wear out, but the heat cycles might be what's different.
Sure.
And the track obviously is a lot cooler now than it will be at 2 o'clock this afternoon. So, I don't know that it'll be as much of a factor, but the problem that I saw yesterday is that the longer you run, it really just becomes, you can't run 100%. You have to slow down a little bit. So the tires do heat up and they slow down and they become slippery. So will they begin like that? I still think these guys might, and then we'll have fast laps, but I don't know that they'll fall back through the field. I don't think that'll happen, but they'll definitely have to take care of the tires more today, because you think they've already got one race.
Yeah, sure. I think from a neutral's perspective, which of course I have to remain, it's fantastic to see the amount of movement, the cars moving around on this new tyre, which goes to show, the drivers are pushing, but also, that tyre is acting differently, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching that yesterday. Let's hope we have the same today.
Okay, so here's my thought, is that I was never a big on the fast lap time gets to go back to the front. It's almost like how you finish is how you should start. I know Myatt likes this today, but I like it the other way myself. But it will be interesting to see, some of these fast guys that were put fast laps, if they will be able to do that today. Yeah. So I think we're fixing to find out.
Had it have been the other way around, Myatt would have started on the 12th row of the grid, because he finished 23rd after the final corner contact. So safety car will peel off as late as possible into the pit lane. Myatt Snyder is in the red and yellow 48. He has got Andre Castro alongside. Buckle up, everybody. We're about to go green for the second time in Elite 2 in the 2019 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Nose to tail, bumper to bumper, lights go out, we're away and racing here at Valencia at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. A good start from both front row men as they charge their way up towards turn number 1. Nicola Risitano being pushed out to the far left of the circuit, but Myatt Snyder is going to lead as they head in towards Aspar, which is turn number 1. It is going to be, without question, Andre Castro that's there in second. Contact further back, Max Lancer gets tagged, Scott Jeffs gets tagged, there's contact further back as well as Sam Taheri is involved, and there's a huge amount of damage to the front end of Jesse Vartiernen's car. So turn 1 is a fast left-hander, Bobby. We got away with it in yesterday's races, but we have not got away with it today. A multi-car accident, and Max Lancer is in the gravel.
Yeah, that we talked about that yesterday afterwards, where both races are really calm, and Jerome Galpin and I were talking last night, and it was like, oh, that usually means that today might be more exciting. So, but turn 1, people don't understand that, I think for a lot of these guys, that's probably the fastest corner of all the races that we go to. And so it's a tight corner, and, when you put all these cars together coming off of turn 1, obviously one in the gravel, there will probably be a full course caution. So a lot of guys got tore up early, and that's usually, you don't want to see that, but after yesterday it was pretty calm, and today it didn't start off that way.
Yeah, so Max Lancer in the gravel. That looks as though it's not just front damage, it's the back axle as well that's gone on the Cal Racing car of Sam Taheri. It's great to see Sam back in the championship, the Israeli driver who did a full season with us in 2017, but was doing a bit of Lamborghini Super Trofeo Middle Eastern Championship last year. Surely we'll get a safety car heading out at some point, but for the moment the race still continues. The big gainer through all of that incident was Nicola Risitano, who managed to clamber his way up into 3rd position. Over the start-finish line they go. Myatt Snyder still leading the race. Andre Castro still there in second position. Nicola Isitano in third place. The runner-up in the Elite 2 Championship last year, Florian Venturi, is sitting there in fourth position. But the cars are indeed, as expected now, just starting to slow up. And not unsurprisingly, with the debris on the circuit and cars in the gravel, we go safety car for the second time this weekend in the Elite 2 Championship for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. We can still see, even 2 or 3 corners after the incident, there's still bodywork in the middle of the track there, Bobby.
Yeah, that surprised that the safety car wasn't out there before that. But, you know, obviously a lot of stuff flying around and, you know, a lot of damage straight away. So they had to fix that, and hopefully that takes too long to get back to green.
Yeah, Jesse Vartinen with all of the front end hanging off his car. We did see him do a couple of races in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series last year. He came out at Hockenheim for both of the races, but prior to that he's done a lot of racing in the Chevrolet Camaro Cup over there in Finland. There is Max Lancer clambering out of his rather beaten up number 41 car, so the Club Motorsports who prepare that car have got a lot of work to do to get the 38-year-old Italian back out for the race later on, because he will also race in the Elite 1 division. And the same can be said for the British driver who's come out of the Mini Challenge JCW Championship in the UK, Scott Jeffs, who had a good run yesterday. It was a very good result for Scott, where he finished in 6th position overall, but again, that Brax Chevy is looking rather beaten up. It's not just cosmetic damage either, is it, to the Finnish driver Jesse Vartinen, and that's sort of all the air ducts and everything else that have been affected there, Bobby.
Yeah, that's you know, I know these cars, they can put them back together pretty quick, but that's still going to be a lot of work to get back out for the Elite 1, because you know, I think everybody knows this, but probably 90% of the teams that run both Elite 1, Elite 2, there's a few cars that choose not to run maybe one, the Elite 2 series. So you know, that's always a risk, and you never know what can happen, but you know, there's enough time that usually if it's not tore up too much, they can put bodywork back on and fix some brake ducts and this and that. But if there's major suspension damage, it becomes a lot more difficult. So you know, that's the bad side of this. But at the same time, you know, a lot of times it doesn't happen, but you see a few cars have got already got a lot of damage.
Yeah, it looks like Scott Jeffs is dragging something behind him as well. It might be about, it's about...
It looks like a squirrel chasing him. Maybe a rabbit. I think that's just something hanging off.
It was a good 20 feet behind the car. There it is. Look, great work by the cameraman. It's sort of chasing him, isn't it, around the circuit. So, yeah, that's a bit of, I think you're right, brake duct that's come unwound, and it's the wire, isn't it, that's dangling out the back of the car.
It sounds better as a rabbit, though.
I like that. It's like the rabbit and a greyhound, isn't it? I did also notice, I just picked up when it was heading around the circuit, there's also damage to another car that we hadn't picked up. I think, and I do only think, I didn't get a full view of it, but I think the Deck Sweat DF Racing number 99 of Justin Kuntz may also be damaged. And he's a driver that, again, last year went over to the States. I know for this year it's called the Gander Outdoors Truck Series, but he did the Camping World Series race, I think, last year, didn't he, Justin? Went over to the States to race in that.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly if he did or not, but if you say so, I'm going to believe you, because you probably know more about that than I do. But, you know, again, that's where we talk about a lot of these guys that race over here. You know, they want to travel across abroad, whether it's in Mexico and Canada in the NASCAR Series or the U.S. And there's so many opportunities in the U.S. with short track racing, K&N racing, east, west. You know, a lot of different opportunities, and again, whether it's Camping World, whether it's Xfinity, you know, just it's great to see that that a lot of these guys that have the desire, that, you know, really want to go racing and broaden what they know and get better at it. And that's one way to do it, is when you go to the U.S. You know, it's a different climate, it's a different you know, attitude, it's you know, different from here to there. I can say that, but it's hard to tell somebody until they go over there. And when they do, they can learn so much and then come back here, and they, you know, it just broadens their horizon. And I think when you think about what they're doing here is great, but when they go, like, say, to the U.S. and run the K&N Series, short track series, something like that, then, you know, they definitely come back here. I think they've learned a lot, and when they come back here, they're better.
Well, I totally agree with you. You know, as a driver, as you all know, you know, having gone through the Busch Series and then up to the main Monster Energy Series and winning that championship in 2000, driving the car is only just one part of your job in reality. It's all the other peripheral things that, you know, the fan engagement, the things that you have to do with the media. You know, it's you're a busy guy even when you're out of the car.
Yeah, you really are. And What I can say about the series here is it's awesome, and it gives these guys the opportunity to race cars that are similar to what you see in the U.S. And but when you are over there, at different levels, but when you get to the top of the top in the Cup Series, and you have, you're the stars and the 40 drivers in the Monster Energy Cup Series, and then at Xfinity down the Truck Series, it's a little bit less, but yet all of them commit themselves to. It's not just, hey, we're going to go race this weekend and take 6 weekends off. Most all of them, they have to work all the time, whether it's media, whether it's team, whether it's testing, whether it's whatever it might be. It's definitely more full-time, and the commitment level is, I think is a lot, can be a lot higher as the series goes up over there. And when you do that, you learn how to adapt to that nature, and it makes you a better driver.
I think the other big difference that we have here with the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series compared to the US are the race lengths. You look at our race leader at this stage, as we still remain under caution here with 12 laps to go at Circuit Ricardo Tormo for round 2 of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series 2019. Myatt Snyder at Martinsville finished 6th overall, but he got beaten up, he got wrecked a little bit, he had to work his way all the way back up through the order, and in the longer races you have the opportunity to do that. Here in the shorter races that we have in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, it's almost a sprint race, isn't it, compared to the race lengths out in the States?
It really is, and I know this is a longer track, but 16 laps just doesn't seem like a lot to me. And it's 30 minutes to 45 minutes is the race length, and for Elite 1 and Elite 2. And really, and when you're at home and you think of the 200-lap race, that's a short race. So at Martinsville, it's either 200 or 250 laps. But when you go to Texas, it's a couple hundred miles, 250 miles. The Monster Energy Cup Series is either 500 miles or 400 miles, kilometers. So
400 last night at Richmond, wasn't it?
Yeah. So that's 3.5 hours in a race car, and you have a lot more time to get caught back up. So. This is definitely more of sprint racing, but it makes sense with the budgets and what these guys are used to. So, and I think the Elite one's a little bit more. Yeah, it's like 10 minutes more this year.
That's right. Yeah, this race is 15 laps or 60 kilometers just over. The Elite 1 race that you'll be in later on is 3 laps extra, so it's 18 laps and about 73 kilometers. And of course, you do that Saturday and Sunday, so you get the 2 races over the weekend.
Yeah, of course. To me, 3 laps is like, really? Is that all? I'd rather go about 35 more laps or 50 more laps. But it really is again, it's what these guys are used to, and it's also what the opportunity they have. Sprint racing, does lead to more cautions. If you had a longer race, you might not see as much. But I think for what we need to have for the amount of time that we have, this is the perfect amount of time laps for these races.
And as Joe Balash from NASCAR, fully agrees, the European market is different to the American market, and they're not trying to replicate it. They're trying to understand the market and make sure that it delivers what the local market needs, and we're delighted to be part of that enormous global NASCAR family as it is now. Well, the safety car is scheduled to be in this lap, so as the cars head out of turn number 11 and up towards turn number 12, they'll get themselves into 2x2 order, ready for this restart. So the reordering has been done. I don't think there was anybody that was off the lead lap, so there's no free pass to worry about, and we're about to get back racing once more by the look of things. So Myatt Snyder again will take up the lead of the pack, look to his right hand side, and that's where he'll see the number 24 in the hands of Andre Castro. Row 2 for this restart is Nicholas Risitano and the 32 of Florian Venturi. Row 3 will be yesterday's race winner Giorgio Maggi, who will have for company the driver that did all of the clambering up through the order yesterday, Vittorio Gorelli. So that gives you the front 3 rows of the grid ready for this restart. There are going to be 11 laps to go when the cars come over the start-finish line this next time through. The safety car pulls back off. The circuit is clear. We are ready to go back. Green flag racing here at Valencia for round 2 of the Elite 2 2019 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series Championship. So restart from Myatt Snyder, who gets the jump on Andre Castro. Andre Castro is going to need to try and close the door to prevent the fast-starting Nicolas Risitano squeezing his way through, but it looks as though Nicolas Risitano has been able to do that. Myatt leads. Risitano is in 2nd place. It is going to be Andre Castro there in 3rd place. It looks as though they're all safely for the moment through turn number 1. Florian Venturi is in 4th place, and Giorgio Maggi is under attack, trying around the outside. Is probably going to be Vittorio Gorelli, but I don't think Gorelli will make it stick as they now head up towards turn number 3 and down towards Nico Priol, which is the rather difficult downhill braking area. Turn number 4, they're still side by side, Bobby, and sideways on the way out of the corner as well.
Yeah, that's always a tricky place. Turn 4 is off camber. You turn left and turn back to the right, and to go side by side through there is definitely a challenge. And you know, you could tell it slowed them down, but they didn't touch each other, so that's a good thing. But Myatt got a really great restart. It looked like the 24 might have spun his tires, so you can see that when you can get through turns 1, 2, and 3 with a lead like that, that definitely helps out. But the 24 car is battling back here.
It is, yeah. I think just maybe the slightest of touches onto the tail end of Nicholas Risitano there, but they both got away with it. Whilst they're squabbling, of course, Myatt Snyder is starting to disappear up the road a little bit, up towards turn number 11. There is, oh dear, there is the driver that shares your car. Mirko Schultes has had an issue somewhere, Bobby.
Yep, I'm not sure where that was at, but definitely got turned around, so he got fired up. He's going back after it.
Yeah, no damage to the car, thankfully, but Mirko Schultes, who was the winner of the Legend Trophy yesterday for the slightly older drivers in the field, is going to have to try and claw his way back up through the order, up towards Adrian Campos, which is turn number 14. They will start to move up from second gear, shift up through the box, through to third, and up towards fourth gear. Turn number 1, which is Aspar, where they go down a cog and in towards third gear, so 10 laps to go. Myatt Snyder leads the race by there or thereabouts a second from Nicola Risitano, who's there in second position. Andre Castro in third place. Martin J. Beck turns in and get a little bit sideways there. There might have just been a small rub from Freddie Hemberg, the Scandinavian, who is out at the wheel of the number 77 Memphis Racing Chevy. That's another good little battle that is happening there, and catching up with them is the 27 as well, which is Pierluigi Veronese. Problems for the number 19. That was the car that was smoking on the outlap, wasn't it?
I called that, didn't I?
You did, you did. Well done.
Just want to make sure you saw that same thing I did.
I was surprised it was still circulating. The smoke seemed to have disappeared, but Alessandro Brigatti clearly has had issues with that car, so yeah, he is no more in this race. The number 11, the PK Carsport car that had a spin on the final lap yesterday, Bert Longines, is starting to make a little bit of progress now. It looks as though he's got himself inside the top 6.
Yeah, Bert had a great run going yesterday and spun out in turn 2. I think it was on the last lap. And, you know, if it hadn't been for that, but luckily, again, he had some fast laps and he was able to start closer to the front. So, you know, still, 10 laps to go. We'll find out more about the tires. We'll see, Myatt's, he's in the lead, but he's not really pulling away maybe like I thought he would. So did he burn up his tires yesterday? I think that's still a question. And, if the balance changes a lot, where he can't drive in quite as hard, and yet these other guys are able to, I mean, it's just so hard to tell right now, and the temperature's not quite hot enough to get the tires maybe at their max grip is going away. So we'll have to wait and see.
Good move by Florian Venturi, who got himself up the inside. Trying to take position as they head down the straight. He's just got the car over to the far left of the circuit. That's raising the dust, but that means that Florian Venturi, the runner-up in this championship for Elite 2 drivers last year, is now up into third position, and Andre Castro is down to fourth and under pressure from yesterday's race winner Giorgio Maggi. See the front end, the nose of the car dip as they dive onto the brakes heading up towards turn number 2, which is Doohan, the second gear left-hander that brings them up to turn number 3, taken in the left-hander taken in third gear, and then from there it's down towards Nico Triol, turn number 4, the right-hander that brings them instantly almost up to 5, and from there the circuit starts to climb back uphill once more. Myatt Snyder leads. He's also the leading rookie that we've got in the field at this stage. Down in 11th place, the number 98 car of Eric Dodonka is leading the Legend Trophy at this stage, and Ariana Casoli for Cal Racing down in the 19th position, number 54 car, leads the Ladies Trophy as the race continues to wear on. And Andre Castro, sort of at this stage of the race, Bobby, just seems to not quite have the car underneath him. No,
yesterday he definitely got out front and he was able to stay there, and he got beat up a little bit and got back a little bit. I'm not sure if he used up the tires from yesterday, and he's definitely making a wider arc through the corner, and he might just be trying to save him a little bit, but it looks like he's having to battle pretty hard.
That was a big lockup from the car behind him, which was yesterday's race winner Giorgio Maggi, and that's the difficult corner. All of the drivers have said, and I'm sure you'll agree, turn number 11 is a very difficult corner because you're turning and braking, and it's very easy to lock that right wheel, the unloaded wheel, heading in towards that right-hander.
Hey, I forgot that was turn 11, but I will have to say that I never have liked that. It seems like it's so hard because you're turning left and then you turn right, and then when you do that, you're unloading the right front tire, and you just see the lockup on the 50 car. That seemed like that's very common, and it's just a hard corner to navigate because you feel like you're going so slow and you want to go faster. And but when you try to go faster, you slide the tires or you slide up.
And once you've locked it once at that corner, it then becomes ever more increasingly easy to lock it again because you've got that flat spot already. There is number 24, Andre Castro, ran very wide heading out of turn number 1, which hasn't really dropped him into the clutches much more of yesterday's race winner, Giorgio Maggi, the number 50, still sitting there in what will be 5th position at this stage. The hugely experienced, he's only 21 years of age, the Swiss driver, done a lot of single-seater racing. We've seen him out in Blancpain sports car racing, actually went over to China as well for a good period of time and raced in the Avalon Formula over there. He was champion in that, some 4 years ago now, and he at the moment is not close enough heading up towards what is turn number 8, Bernard Martinez, to try and put any more pressure on the car ahead of him. So it's sort of 2 for the lead and then a gap before we see Florian Venturi in 3rd position. And for the first time, Bobby, in this race, it's just sort of starting to settle down a little bit now. But Castro again missed the apex there, didn't he?
Yeah, it really is. And what battle for the lead here.
He is, yeah. Nicholas Risitano all of a sudden didn't see what happened there.
I didn't see it either, but I was just fixing to say that what happened yesterday is that you're out there running and your tires are really not gripping well, and it's a matter of if you make a mistake. If you don't make a mistake, you just can run really good lap times. But if you make one mistake, then the guys will catch back up, as we saw. If he just got crossed up or something like that.
Well, the team look happy. Yeah, Nicola Risitano takes up the lead of the race. The second race that we held here last year, Nicola Risitano finished in 2nd place overall, but he's never had a win in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Ran a little bit wide there, it'd be fair to say, heading out of turn number 1. Florian Venturi under pressure for 3rd place as Andre Castro is starting to attack, but he's left the door open now for Giorgio Maggi to try and squeeze his way through. Can Maggi capitalise on that? They're side by side through turn number 3. No, he can't is the answer. The number 50 Hendricks Motorsport Ford still sitting there in 5th position, and now the battling is starting. It's starting to bring the next car behind, the PK Car Sport number 11 of Bert Longines, into the mix.
So right, Mark, before that you said it looked like it's calming down, and now it doesn't look like that. So Maya went from the lead to 2nd. Now these guys are really battling. So again, it's the tires. I think there's so many unknowns with this, and Myatt probably has the least amount of, I know he has the least amount of experience here, but at the same time, we just don't know how much the fall off is going to be. General Tire is a great tire, but at the same time, everybody's struggling with a new tire that they brought, and we get to learn more all the time. So whether Myatt locked up a wheel or what he did to get to lose the lead, he'll learn from that and figure out, well, maybe he can not do that again, and if the 8 car makes that mistake, then he'll be able to capitalize go back to the front.
The good thing for Myatt Snyder is now that they're squabbling behind, it's allowing him to sort of stick to the coattails of Nicola Risitano. That was because Florian Venturi had a big lock-up. Andre Castro almost squeezed the 24 through, but he's now himself under pressure from Giorgio Maggi, who takes a wide line up towards 14, which allows Bert Longines to stick his nose up the inside. Number 54 as they come over the start-finish line. 6 laps now remain in this final Elite 2 race of the weekend, and now Nicolas Risitano looking as though he is being caught again by Myatt Snyder on that particular lap as they came over the start-finish line. There was, about 0.3 of a second separating them. The gap had come down by a very small amount on that lap, just 1/10 of a second. So yeah, the gap is closing up. Look at the almost 5-car battle now we've got for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and almost 7th position. Vittorio Gorelli, though, has just got a bit more work to do to catch the back ahead.
Yeah, for Myatt, I can say that, when he can look in the mirror and not have anybody behind him, that he can concentrate on trying to get the lead back, and that's always a good feeling when you have somebody pressuring you from behind. It makes it a lot worse trying to either protect the corner or in trying to pass the car in front of you. So I'd say Myatt, at least right now, to me, is running laps to set up the 8 car to see about passing him.
It looks as though the car that's running in 3rd position is the information we're receiving, which is Florian Venturi. He's got a drive-through penalty and has just lost 3rd place as Bert Longines has a spin heading out of turn number 11. Martin Dubec has to sort of hold his breath and decide which way to go. Bert Longines left it until the last lap yesterday to have the spin. He's had the spin today. day, sort of midway through the race, and that has disturbed that great little battle that we were talking about. But for poor old Florian Ventura, yeah, he's got a drive-through penalty. We gather it's for pushing a car out off on the track. We did see him getting quite close to the white lines and dust being raised. Maybe it was that, but that has been spotted by Philippe Godet, who is the race director. Nicola Risitano sideways heading out of turn number 14. Mike Snyder might be able to capitalise here, Bobby, as they head up towards Aspar, turn number 1.
Yeah, he really might. You know, the 8 car definitely got sideways there. And, you know, it seemed like after that mistake or after what happened where he lost the lead, he's kind of stayed with the 8 car. And, you know, he's definitely doesn't look like he's pushing his car as hard as the 8 car right now. So, you know, maybe he'll be able to capitalize on what, again, the number 8 is heating the tires up where Myatt looks a lot cleaner right now. So that might be the difference as the laps wind down here.
A more relaxed driving style, which if he just stays where he is, Myatt Snyder, might work in his favour as the remaining 5 laps sort of wear on. So up the hill, up towards Angel Nieto, which is turn number 6, the second gear left-hander. From there they start to accelerate. They'll go flat out in 3rd gear through turn number 7 before they dive onto the brakes at Bernard Martinez, which will be coming up very, very shortly. That is turn number 8. You sort of brake in a straight line, but as soon as you turn in, Bobby, to this corner, the circuit really drops away. It's quite an adverse camber, isn't it, as you head around the corner? Yeah,
it really is. And, you know, obviously, again, the 8 car is, well, lost the lead. Myatt got back by him. The 8 car is worried about trying to protect his line instead of racing the racetrack. So, you know, Myatt was able to get by him, but, you know, it still looks like both cars are pretty equal, so I don't know if the 8 will be able to pressure Myatt any.
Yeah, just smart driving by the 24-year-old American. He has just taken the lead as the safety car comes out as well, but Nicola Risitano is re-attacking again. He's going to squeeze his way back through. Now, it does make you wonder as to whether probably the information hadn't quite been received that the safety car was heading out there, but Risitano leads on the road. There might be a bit of reordering that's needed here because, yeah, Myatt Snyder is sort of slowing down. Nicola Risitano is, for the moment, I think still going flat out and only now has spotted the yellow flag. So there may be some reshuffling of that order, I would suspect, Bobby.
I think in the drivers' meeting they said that you have to revert back to the lap before.
Yeah, I think
so right. If that's the case, then the 8 will be back in the lead and Myatt will be second, at least on the restart. So, and I would say that what happened there was he did not receive the information in the safety car.
Yeah.
We were sitting here watching it and we didn't know it either, so.
Yeah, so it has reached just John, who is over my left-hand shoulder, is busy sort of typing and scribbling notes to keep us informed as to what's going on in race control. I tried it last year here at Valencia to have an earpiece that gave me all of the race control information in my ear, but when you've got the producer talking to you in one ear and a huge amount of race control traffic in the other, it just didn't work. It really didn't work. So we got rid of that idea very, very quickly indeed. So we're back under safety car here with just 4 laps remaining in this second Elite 2 race of the weekend at the Valencia NASCAR Festival, Circuit Ricardo Tormo, which means subject to what's happened out on circuit, because we actually haven't seen it. We can see one of the circuit recovery vehicles on the screen heading in the general direction of turn number 5 possibly.
I think the 11.
Bert Longines, yeah.
Bert was off in turn... 11. That's my favorite corner.
Right.
I think he was off there. It looked like he was. I think they got him going again. And I'm not sure. He'd spun out before that, so I don't know if he had something broke.
Yeah, I just tried to look through. I think we saw Bert Longines come into the pits, and Ben Kriener has also come into the pits. So as for which car is missing, not entirely sure as yet. There will be a bit of reordering needed doing. We need to get the car out of the way, and with only, 3 and a bit laps to go, we are, I'm not trying to prejudge, but we may well be heading towards a green-white checkered here. So let's just sort of have a quick catch-up whilst we're under safety car here at Valencia. Nicola Risitano leading on the road, but before the reordering takes place. Myatt Snyder second on the road, but either way that would still mean that he is the leading rookie that we have in the field at this stage. Down in 9th position is still the leading legend driver. If you weren't with us just as we sort of entered into this race, just to give you an idea, the legend drivers are drivers aged 40 years and over that are bronze categorised in terms of their ability that enter the Elite 2 Championship, as Bert Longines is in the pits. We said he was in there. It looks as though he's remaining there. And Eric de Donker has got right behind him the second driver in the Legend Trophy, the number 78 Brax Racing Ford Mustang of Jerry Zavert. So that could be a battle to keep an eye towards once we go back to green flag racing, or what is now more than likely to be a green-white checkered. And still leading the Lady Trophy at this stage is the Italian former Lady Cup champion, as it was called back then, which is Arianna Casoli. But for Bert Longines, who is going to take over my co-commentary duties, he's going to replace you for the race later on. It looks as though it's retirement for poor old Bert.
Well, he'll be able to tell you firsthand what happened over there.
He will.
We could only see what we saw on TV, but something might have happened. Because we saw the first spin.
Yeah.
And it looked like that was all on his own. And then I don't know what happened to him, why he's out of the race, if something broke. But I would say ask him and make sure he tells you the truth.
Yeah, we can still see a fair chunk of damage to Justin Coots's car. That was there since the Turn 1 incident, Justin Coots's car. It's not got any worse, it's not got any better, but the front right wing now is peeling away. So safety car still out there, 3 laps to go. A bit of weaving side to side from some of the cars. A bit like yesterday, though, when we were under caution at Elite 2. We're not seeing it from all of them. Weaving from side to side, yes, will keep the temperatures, but it also wears the tyre a bit more. And if you're struggling for tyres, I think as we saw in yesterday's race, some drivers opting just to drive a nice smooth line behind the safety car, and then when you're a lap away from going green, they start to weave. Yeah,
I don't know that it'll wear the tires out the more you do it under caution, but at the same time, you definitely want to keep temperature in them, and you want to keep rubber buildup off. So, and some people prefer, hey, I'll just ride around for all the laps, and then I'll wait till one to go, and I'll clean it off, and some people do it the other way. So it's just basically a driver preference, I think, at that point in time, or how your car feels. If you know that you're picking up a lot of debris, you want to keep them as clean as possible.
Sure, yep. It looks as though the lineup, we gather, is okay. So Nicola Risitano is going to take up the lead for this restart. So the safety car should be in at the end of this lap, and you can see that the crowd are certainly enjoying not just the sunshine, but the fantastic on-circuit and off-circuit action that we've got here as part of the Valencia NASCAR Festival. Of course, the next round of the championship will take place in Italy at Franciacorta in the middle part of May. Then from there we move on to Brands Hatch in the UK before we head over for our only oval circuit that we've got, which is Venray in the Netherlands. And then from there we will then conclude our season with Most in the Czech Republic for the first time, the semi-finals, double points at Hockenheim in Germany, and then the finals, as has traditionally been the case for the last few years, will be in Belgium at the fantastic Zolder circuit. So the safety car will wait until it gets to the exit of turn 11. It's just up at turn 10, heading towards turn 11, and on the exit of 11, that's where everybody gets in neat 2-by-2 order, and from there we can then start to see the cars get themselves together. Keep your questions coming in. There's a question coming via the internet, Bobby. I had a look of things. So
yep. So yeah, the question is about my opinion on the new Cup schedule for next year, and I think that this is a great move for NASCAR. To shake it up a little bit. There's a lot of differences. Doubleheader weekend at Pocono is one that comes to mind, and then also the season ending in Phoenix is definitely the difference. And there's some other ones in there too with the playoffs. I do think that's I've raced it so many years, and I used to think, why are we going the same places all the time, every time? You knew the schedule before the season started. So I think what NASCAR has done is definitely a step in the right direction, and it'll be exciting to see and report on it and talk about it, and know that these guys have a different challenge this year than they have in the past.
Absolute tradition is good, but change is good as well. So the safety car is about to peel its way in for what should be a green-white checkered now in reality. So it feeds its way into the pit lane. Nicola Risitano is in the lead of the race, and right to his right-hand side is Mike Snyder. It looks as though Andre Castro was very, very quick to try and get out of the blocks there to see what he might be able to do on the charger up towards Aspar, which is turn number 1, but Nicola Risitano has got it covered off. Can Castro get through into second? Run side by side with Mike Snyder. The two of them made contact yesterday at the final corner and both dropped down through the order. They're side by side still on the run up towards turn number 2. Nicola Risitano leading, Mike Snyder side by side with Andre Castro. Andre Castro now might have the opportunity to squeeze up the inside through turn 3, but then the circuit turns the other way in favour of Myatt Snyder, and a bit like yourself and Alex Sedgwick last year, side by side through several corners, Bobby.
Yeah, it really is. And so when you get to turns 4 and 5 and even 6, I mean, it's hard to run side by side, and the 24 car is doing a great job staying up there, but Myatt gives him plenty of room, and that's really good to see. And so far we've seen that, and they're good racing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh-oh, almost.
Just as you were saying, a little bit of a rub there, but they've both got away with it now. Now it looks as though Castro is going to have the inside line for turn number 8, and they are still side by side, leaning on each other. Keep an eye towards Vittorio Garelli, who might just squeeze through here.
Yeah, Myatt, oh man, he just, you know, when you get back there, and he hasn't been in that position the whole weekend. I mean, he's been fast, qualified good. As you can see, some damage with the 9 car there, and you know, I mean, that is that's what's so hard, is that when he's been leading or running second the whole time, he's never been in traffic, and right now he's struggling a little bit because he's got some damage, and you know, back there with guys that he hadn't been with, and plus having to do so many different things. You're not just racing for the lead, but now you're having to race for a position, and guys blocking you, and you're trying to pass. So, you know, still a fast race car, but I think, you know, getting down to this late in the race is going to be hard for him.
Mike Snyder losing out there. Vittorio gaining a position, so he's now up into 4th place. Freddie Hemberg, who started this race down in something like 16th position, is now well and truly up through the order. He's running in 4th position. The big loser with that contact was actually also the number 50 car of yesterday's race winner, which is Giorgio Maggi. So he had to get off the gas and make sure he avoided contact with those ahead. But Nicola Risitano here looking as though he might be closing in potentially on his first NASCAR Whelen Euro Series victory. However, Andre Castro is going to have other ideas about it. I gather that Jennifer Jo Cobb is off at turn number 12 in the gravel, and there is Florian Venturi, who's made contact with the driver that was leading the Legend Trophy, which is Eric Dodonka. So they will both recover. That looks as though that's maybe at turn number 8, so there's more twists in the tail yet, Bobby.
Yeah, there really is, and what I probably should have told Myatt before he started over here is that the restarts are usually horrendous. I mean, as far as, you know, I mean, you think that, you know, Myatt was in control of the race. He was running first and second, and then, you know, the restarts, these guys are so aggressive on it, and, you know, we saw that with some, you know, with a little bit of damage, and they definitely push hard. These guys race really, really hard, so, and, you know, we're used to that in the States, but it's a little bit more aggressive here.
It's a Chevy 1-2 at the moment, and remember, Andre Castro was in the position yesterday that Nicola Risitano is in today, and, well, is he going to try anything at turn number 14, as Myatt Snyder did yesterday, and say it didn't work for either of them. They're heading up towards turn number 14 now. Nicola Risitano on the brakes. He finished second last year in the second race of the weekend in Elite 2. Is he going to take his first ever win in a NASCAR Whelen Euro Series? Andre Castro having a go, but he's not got the legs on the run to the line. It is going to be a win, and the first ever win in a NASCAR Whelen Euro Series for the Racers Motorsport Chevy in the hands of Nicola Risitano. He will be as pleased as punch with that. Andre Castro comes through to finish in second place, and Vittorio Garelli will complete the podium in 3rd position. Nicola Risitano delighted with that one, and up at turn number 1, enjoying the moment, Bobby. It's been a tough old weekend for Nicola Risitano and the team generally, but what a way to leave Spain with your first ever NASCAR win.
Yeah, it really is, and I'm not sure he was supposed to do a donut on that lap, but obviously as happy as he is, he's out of the car, his first NASCAR win. You can see the excitement in these guys, and you know, when you're anytime you can win a race, obviously he's showing that his excitement level is pretty darn high. So, yeah, and you always love seeing somebody win their first race. It's the most exciting thing. So he's able to, you know, let everybody know that he won, and his team's going to be pretty excited. I know that those guys are fast, you know, both in Elite 1 and Elite 2.
Yeah, so, yeah, understandably as pleased as punch, and, yeah, the crowd enjoying that as well. Those that are down there at Turn 1 at Aspar, and there are thousands and thousands of them, have really enjoyed the celebrations there from Nicola Risitano, which, subject to what happens also in the Elite 1 race later on, the team are, either way, I suspect, going to party tonight. So Risitano claims the win. Andre Castro is second, but is the leading rookie over the start-finish line, so we will see him finish second on the overall podium, but the top step of the rookie podium for him. In 3rd place, it's another rookie, Vittorio Garelli, and 4th place, completing the rookie podium in reality, is Freddie Hemberg. But remember, Freddie came from 16th on the grid, so that's a fantastic result for Memphis Racing. 5th position was the number 7 car of Martin Dubeck. Myatt Snyder in the end with that damage came through, number 48, to finish in 6th place, and Giorgio Maggi, yesterday's race winner, was there in 7th place. 8th was number 27, Pierluigi Veronese. 9th place, despite all of that frontal damage. The Dexwex car still going well in the hands of the German driver, number 99, Justin Kuntz. And in 10th place, the driver that took over the victory in the lead in the Legend Trophy as a result of those problems for Eric Dodonka. That's Jerry de Wert. Just to pick out the winner of the Ladies Trophy, that was down in 16th position. the number 54 Cal Racing machine in the hands of Ariana Casoli. So a busy old race, Bobby, lots to contemplate, and well, for you, you'll do it all again later on.
Yeah, this is good to see it from this angle, and just as I thought, or I thought people talked about, and seeing yesterday's race being calm until the last lap.
Yeah.
But at the same time, today had excitement throughout. There was definitely more contact, harder racing. Again, the guys started off on older tires today. We'll do that in Elite 1 later. The track temperature will go up, so I think handling will be a premium, and restarts are always, and starts are going to be crazy as well. So I'm sure there will be these guys will have taken yesterday, slept on it last night, and when Elite 1 goes off later, they'll be probably a little bit more aggressive, thinking they got made changes to the car to make it better.
And one quick question as well. Whilst it's great that you've joined us in the commentary box, because you've been able to look at what the cars are doing out there on circuit, I'm guessing you'll have absorbed that and seen, physically what was happening to the cars as the race wears on, and that will affect maybe the way that you approach the race or the setup of the car for later on, perhaps?
Well, it's a good possibility. I mean, thinking we went out this morning in warm-up, watching this, as well from a different point of view than I would have yesterday or would have done if I hadn't been up here, to see some of these corners and what some of these guys are doing that you can't see from pit road. I think that I'll take some of this. I'll take anything I can to get better, and this is definitely something I look at, and once I talk to Mirko and Ben and just kind of understand what their car did compared to yesterday, you're always chasing something, and chasing speed is what you're always trying to do and trying to get to victory lane. So I'll take this, and I know that I've learned a little bit sitting here watching it with you on TV.
It's been great to have you back in the commentary box. It would be great if we saw some more of you again throughout the course of this season. We keep our fingers crossed with regards to that as Nicola Risotano heads towards victory lane, which is a different sort of place for this year as well. We used the main circuit podium last year, Bobby. This year, again, that fan engagement and making sure that the families that are here, and many of them, you can see how busy the car parks were. All of the fans now leaving the grandstands and heading down towards the public area where victory lane is. They can get up close to the drivers and the cars and enjoy the celebration.
Yeah, you think about at home. The Phoenix SMI, or not SMI, Phoenix Raceway, whatever it's called now, ISM. So, they changed their victory lane to more of a fan-friendly, and this is what Jerome has done here. So, as far as victory lane before was really on pit road, and you can only access was there by so many people, but the way they have it set up this year is definitely a lot different. And I see in the States that a lot of the tracks are doing the same thing. ISM being one of the first. So obviously, happy guy here.
A very, very happy guy, a very, very happy team, and you can, even though the crash helmet isn't on, you can only just sort of imagine the emotion and the face of Nicola Risotano. He is going to be smiling, and for many an hour indeed, and what a great thing to do. He claims second place in this equivalent race last year in Valencia. There is Dario Carzo waiting to congratulate him, the driver that he shares the car with the sunglasses on and the black jumper there. His next race, having just won this one, his next NASCAR Grand Prix, his home country Grand Prix. Great momentum he'll be bringing as we head towards Franciacorta for the next rounds, the Italian. Yeah,
that's always good. And, obviously I don't know a lot about these guys, but they're serious about their racing. And, anytime you can win the race before your home track, you got to be, it's got to be good for him. I saw him this morning on the way in, and, he definitely is deserved to win.
So we will gauge some more reaction from Nicola Risotano. We won't be talking to him down in victory lane. Apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen, but you won't miss out on his reaction. Rest assured with us, please. You won't miss out on that reaction. We will be grabbing an interview with him that we will be posting on social media. So whether it be Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, we will be grabbing a quick 60-second interview or so with Nicolas Risotano to gauge his reaction. And you can see the pure delight that he's got on his face. We also need to say an enormous thank you to Bobby Labonte, who joins me in the commentary box. Last time we did it was at Brands Hatch. Thank you for doing it here, Bobby, and good luck for the race.
Yeah, thank you. Looking forward to it. It's going to be, I can't believe the weather here is this beautiful. It's so much fun, and I know at home it was raining for the past 2 days, so we...
it always rains where I come from.
Definitely lucked up for me to be here on a beautiful weekend, and looking forward to there's the race this afternoon, and, always look forward to, since I don't qualify that good, I look forward to gaining as much positions in the race. So hopefully that'll bode well for me.
Well, good luck in the race, and when you get back home, give my best regards to Kristen as well.
Thank you.
So there we go, Nicola Risitano cooling down, and rightly so, for what was a hard-fought race. A couple of safety car periods where they could relax, but it was pretty much flat out all of the way. And well, that's it. The cars being recovered out on the circuit, the sweeping up being done by the circuit vehicles here. But that is not it for today here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo at Valencia, because of course we do have the Elite 1 race coming up a little bit later on. If you're watching in Europe, then we go live on the stream at 13:55 Central European Summertime. If you're joining us in the US, well, thank you first of all for getting up and setting your alarms so early this morning. But you can go back to bed for a couple of hours and set your alarm for 7:55 in the morning Eastern Time, and join us for the Elite 1 race here at Ricardo Tormo in Valencia. From Bobby Labonte, and who joined us in the comedy box, and myself, Mark Werrell, goodbye. We'll see you for the Elite 1 race later on. Good morning and welcome to Autodromo di Franciacorta. Welcome to Circuit Solder for the final round. It's all very tight up towards turn 1. Oh, it's close and there's contact. They're side by side. When the checkered flag falls and the race is done, it's always time for celebrations. And I don't think there were too many mistakes in
You said that Tahir is from Israel.
He's Iranian. Yeah.